All right, folks, we are talking about the review today. I'm just going to use the same slideshow that I made. So a system of linear equations is shown graphically. Again, this is in Google Classroom. State the solution to the system of equations. If we look at the hint, we can say, oh, this is where the solution, this is where the lines cross. So boom, we see that the lines cross right here. So that's over 4 down -2. So that's what I'm going to put here. Say the solution is 4, -2. Now, if that's enough to help you on the test, great. Otherwise, you would say the solution is where the lines cross. Put the hint on there. You could also put a little graph on there, like, right, maybe like right there. When you write it, your x is going to go first. Okay. X goes first. Yeah. So anyway, that's the first one right there. Slide number 2. Let's see, Carlos and Nick went to a bake sale to benefit Mr. Wishart, who wants to go to Fiji for a vacation. Carlos bought 18 muffins and 16 croissants for $2.50. Nick brought 18 muffins and 22 croissants for $3.10. Create a system of equations that can be used to determine the values of x, the price per muffin. So x equals price per muffin, and y equals price per croissant. State the price of a muffin, state the price for croissant, and show or explain the steps. So let's see here. I'm going to keep this on the other screen for a sec here. Number 2. My suggestion is to write small on this, guys. So for the first equation, we got Carlos, 18x plus 16y is 250. And then 18x plus 22y is 310. This is the first bullet point. Okay. Now, we want to eliminate the x's for this. The reason is because it's the same number, and since they're both positive, that means I'm going to subtract. Okay, that's going to cancel out. 16 minus 22 is -6. 250 minus 310. You can also think about it as 25 minus 31, and then you add a 0. So it's going to be 25 minus 31 is a -6, but since it's in the hundreds, it's -60. Okay, we'll divide by -6, and we end up with a y value of 10. So that is the price of a croissant here, but we need to figure out the price of a muffin as well. So what we need to do is we need to take this y value of 10 and plug it into one of the equations. I'm just going to do it right here. You can choose either one, again. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to choose the first one, choose the easier one, plug it in for that y value, and then equal to 250. Let me zoom in here. That'll be kind of hard to see. Okay, so 16 times 10 is 160 equals 250. We'll subtract that 160. Okay, so we get 18x equals, what is that, 90? Yeah. And then we'll divide by 18. And it's going to give us an x value of 5. Let's see, 90 into 18, if you wanted to do that long division, 18 into 90. Well, 18 doesn't go to 9. You'd have to figure out, I mean, it is 5, right? So you just multiply it out. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 1 is 90. You get 0. Anyway, so now we've got our price of, which is first? The muffins. So say muffins cost $5. Croissants cost 10, and then the work is here, right? As when we look back at the question, right? Show or explain the steps, right? So those would be the steps there. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4 on my answer key. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. So I should get full points on that one. Okay. 3, system of linear equations. What is the missing equation? So my thinking process is I figure out the y-intercept, I got -4 right here. So that means that this equation is that 2x minus 4, the positive one, because the slope is positive. So I got to figure out this one right here. I know that we're crossing at 6. So when I write this down on number 3, I know it's going to be y equals something plus 6, right? And then I got to figure out the slope. So if I look here, I go start here and I go to here. That means I'm going down 1 and right 2. Since this is a decreasing slope, I go down 1, right 2. That's -1/2. Okay? -1/2. Don't forget your x, and then that's going to be your missing equation for this one, right? So what I would write on something for this one, I would say like find your y-intercept and then find your slope, right? Find, oops, go back there. Find your slope. And there it is, that says soup, okay? Yeah, a hint would be like look for increasing and decreasing. Right, increasing is positive, decreasing is negative. That's your slope right there, right? So that's that number right there. Okay, when we kick over to number 4, which of these stores has a better deal for apples? So we've got store A, we've got 4.2 apples costing, 2 pounds of apples, this 2 costs $4.20. And then this one, we've got this chart right here with the pricing. So when I go over to kind of showing my work here, I've got that store A, this is number 4. Store A is 4.2, and I'm going to divide 2 into it to figure out the unit rate. 2 goes into 4 2 times. I'm going to bring my decimal up. 2 times 2 is 4. I subtract to get to 0. I bring that 2 down. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 times 1 is 2. I subtract, I get 0. So no remainders. So store A, 1 pound of apples is $2.10. Okay? And then for the other one, I've got 414, 20, let's see here. 4, 8, 12, okay. For B, 4, 8, 12, X and Y. And then 14, 28, and 42. 28 and 42. So the idea here is that it's going up 14 each time and going up 4 each time. So we're going to say 14 divided by 4. 4 goes into 14, let's see, 4, 8, 12, 3 times. 4 times 3 is 12. We subtract 2. And then since we don't have any other digits here or numbers here, then we start putting a decimal here, right? So then we bring a 0 down, right? Here. 4 goes into 25 times, so 4 times 5 is 20, and we get no remainder here. So then we get 1 pound here is $3.50. So the better deal is this one right here, right? Store A is a better deal. Okay. Number 5, solve this linear equation. I'm just going to write this down in the spot and then we'll solve it. See, negative 4x minus 5 equals 1/3, 6x plus 9 plus 2. Okay, so the idea here is you're going to start with your parentheses, right? So you're going to distribute, multiply. Okay, so negative 4x minus 5 equals 6 divided by 3 is 2x. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Now we're going to combine like terms to get to 5. So negative 4x minus 5 equals 2x plus 5. Now we got to bring this 2x over here. It cancels, so negative 6x minus 5 equals 5. Add here for those 5s. Negative 6x equals 10. Okay, now we'll divide by negative 6. We're going to get a decimal or a fraction right here. So we get x equals negative 10/6, which is the same thing as negative 3/5, which is the same thing as negative 1 2/3. Oh, actually, this should be 5/3, my bad. Same thing as -1 2/3, same thing as -1.6 repeating. Yeah, so lots of different options there. Number 6. State the following, or solve the following system of linear equations graphically. You'll have a graph on paper for this on the test. For this one, it's a little weird. What I would suggest is just doing a line. We'll start with this one, -4, and we're going to go down 3 and right 1. So starting at -4, down 3, and right 1 is right there. And then we can just kind of extend it here, up 3 and right 1, and then do the same thing, and do the same thing to kind of like just get it all the way across the grid here. All right, so that's the first one right here. And then the second one is starting at +4, going down 1 and right 3, down 1 and right 3, right? And then we can extend it the other way. Here, we'll do one more right there. And so we can see that our point of intersection is right here at -3, 5, okay? Again, the solution is where the lines cross. Okay. Is there anything we want to add here? You could also solve this with substitution, but with a fraction it gets a little more complicated. I think the easiest to solve it with graphing. If we do this, well, yeah. Okay. Number 7, which function is nonlinear? Let's see, I'm going to just write the tables down here. 5, 8, 7, 16, 8, 20, 9, 24. Okay, so you'll see I've just got that written out there. That's A. Okay, and then B, just do the same thing. 3, 1, 6, 2, 9, 4, and 12, 8. Now this one is a little confusing because you got to figure out your rate of change, right? So how I do this, like for A, the difference here is 8, and then we get to 4 here, and then 4 here, and then we've got 2, and then 1 and 1. So just realize that it's not the same number here, but it's not the same number here, and so it's that difference is like similar between each one. So we can do 8 divided by 2 is 4, 4 divided by 1 is 4, 4 divided by 1 is 4. So your rate of change here is actually 4 over 1, or just 4. Okay, we do the same thing here. We get 3, 3, and 3. Same number, that's good, so it's constant rate of change, right? So, and then over here, 1, and then 2, and then 4, right? So this one has a constant rate of change, which means it's linear. This one doesn't have a constant rate of change because this number is constantly changing. This number is changing. So this one is non-linear, right? Let's go back here and make sure that we're looking for the non-linear one. Hint, constant rate of change means the function is linear. So when you have a constant rate of change, like in function A, it's linear. But again, we're looking for the non-linear one, so it is B. Okay, number 8. Okay. How many solutions does this system of equations have? For A, you have the same slope and different y-intercepts. So that means, and I'm just going to do A, B, and C. So how many solutions does it have? Same slope and different y-intercepts means it's parallel, so they don't cross at all. So it has none. And then for the second part, how many points of intersection does it have? 0, right? Okay. And then for B, we have different slopes and the same y-intercept. All I care about is the different slopes, right? If I have different slopes, I know that these are going to cross once. So how many solutions does this have? 1 for B. And then how many points of intersection does it have? Just 1. Okay. And then for C, well, it's the same equation. So same slope, same y-intercepts. How many solutions does this have? And how many points of intersection? They're both infinite, right? It's the same line. So we have infinite solutions and infinite points of intersection. Okay, so this is the 3 kinds of what am I trying to say here? Three kinds of systems problems, right, when we're graphing, okay? Number 9, reflect this over the y-axis. What's the location of z prime? Hint right here. Find the line of reflection, so in this case it's going to be the y-axis, so the vertical one. Count how many spaces each point is away, and then put that over there. Also, you don't have to reflect the whole shape if you're just looking for one point, right? And we're only looking for one point. We're only looking for z prime. So z prime is, I'm just do this like real fancy like. So our line of reflection is right down the middle. Let me do that in yellow, and then I'll change the, right, so that's our line of reflection right there. Now z is 1, 2, 3 away. So z prime is going to be 1, 2, 3 right here. And then I'll do like a little shape there, a little circle to represent that point at z, remove it, for z prime. So it's -3, -6, okay? So our solution for number 9 is -3, -6. Right, and if I put this on here, I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3. You can just make a rough graph right here. So this is z, and it goes 1, 2, 3 here, and it gets reflected over here, right? So that's z prime. Okay. So yeah, there you go. Number 10. Delete that. No. What is an equation that could represent this data? It starts at 20, that y equals mx plus b, and increasing or decreasing to start, right? So it's going to be increasing, so I know the slope's going to be positive. I know it's going to start at 20. So when I write my equation, right, because I think that's the first part of it, is write the equation. It's y equals something, x plus 20, right? And I look at this, right, it's going to go from 20 up here to get 60 divided by 80, right? So up 60 over 80, which is the same as 6 over 8, which is the same as 3/4, right? So let's do that. 60 over 80, which is y equals 6 over 8, x plus 20. Oh, I think I changed this on my answer key. This should be 3/4, 60 over 80, which we can simplify this to 3/4 x plus 20. Okay, so that's our equation for that, okay? Now, what's important here is to know what positive and negative means, right? Positive means it goes up like this. You can also think about it being increasing. Negative would be if it went like this, right? That would be decreasing. Is the y-intercept positive or negative? The y-intercept is right here. In this case, it is positive, okay? So that's kind of what I want you thinking about on this one. So our slope is positive for this. And the y-intercept is positive. For this one, right? Could be different on the test, might not be, you'll see, okay? Number 11, convert these equations to slope-intercept form. So the idea here is you subtract the x term to the right side and divide by the coefficient. So let's see, this is number 11, so I'm just gonna write them down. 6x plus 7y is 42. And then 6x plus 7y is 56. Okay? All right, so I subtract the x term. I've got 7y equals -6x plus 42, okay? And then I'll divide by the coefficient of the y term. So in this case, it'll be that 7 right here, okay? So I divide by 7 on both sides. Y equals -6/7 x, and then 42 divided by 7 is 6, okay? Do the same thing here. -6x, -6x, we get 7y equals -6x plus 56, divide by 7. Make sure you're dividing both terms by 7, right? Y the coefficient. -6/7 x plus, what is that, 8? Yeah. Okay, now what we have here is the same slope and different y-intercepts, right? So we go back here. How many solutions does this system of equations have? Well, it's got none because we have the same slope and different y-intercepts, right? So they're parallel lines. So no solutions, okay? And a more general way to do this, right, is if we look at this ax plus by equals c, you do the same thing, right? Ax plus b y equals c, you'll subtract the ax to both sides. Cancel it out here. You got by equals negative ax plus c. We'll divide by that b on both sides. So it becomes y equals negative a over bx plus c over b, right? Which is exactly what we did here, right? So that's 6 is the a, that's 7 is the b, and that is the c, right? That's c divided by b, right? 42 divided by b, which is, yeah, right there. So let's see, it's going back here. What's the slope of the line and what's the y-intercept? So slope is negative a over b, right, the number right here, and then y-intercept is c over b here. So this is a more general way to think about it. Last one, number 12. Two supervillains want to destroy the world. Dr. Killdeath's Desiree can destroy 3.2 cities every minute. She's already destroyed 42. So when we put our equation together, this is going to be y equals 3.2x plus 42. Okay. And then for Commander Calamity, his Blimp of Doom can destroy 4.4 cities every minute, and he's already destroyed 24 cities. So y equals 4.4x plus, what was it, 24? Yeah. So we've got our equation right here. We got to figure out how many minutes it takes for them to destroy the same number of cities. So the idea here is we're going to solve this by substitution. We'll call this the equal values method. You take the right half of each equation and set them equal to each other. 4.4x plus 24. We'll subtract that 4.4 over here. This is in your notes, right? That's solving for equations. So let's see, negative 3.2 minus 4.4 is going to be 1.2. It'll be negative. Subtract that 42, and we'll get a negative 1.2x equals, what's the difference here, 42 minus 24? We know it's going to be negative because the 24 is on top, but if we just solve like so, right, I got to borrow here, that becomes a 3, 12 minus 4 is 8, and 3 minus 2 is 1, so we get negative 18, and then we'll divide by negative 1.2 on both sides. And we'll get x equals, I mean, you'll have a calculator in this. You know it's going to be positive because you got two negatives. But we would do this as 18, 1.2. Basically, this goes in once. And that gets us to 12. We subtract, we get to 6. And 1.2 goes into 5 times. And then we multiply that out to get to 6, and we subtract to get to 0, right? So that's 15 for our x value. And so we'll go back and say determine how many minutes. So 15 minutes, they will have destroyed the same number of cities. So in 15 minutes, they will have destroyed the same number of cities. Yeah, whew.